Brian Johnson, and I was just sitting here getting ready for this conversation, and I am excited to share this information with you. This is probably one of my most favorite things to discuss, which is all in the area of the mindset and how much of a critical role it plays into whether we are sabotaging ourselves or whether we are allowing ourselves to thrive in our mind, our body, and our spirit, and all that fun stuff. So, really, without further ado, we're going to start getting into some information, and I'm going to go ahead and start pulling up some slides so we can kind of start cruising through some stuff, and I can share with you some of this stuff to help unleash your superpower. And we'll get into the ant and the elephant. So bear with me for a moment while I try to get my technical end squared away. My technical savvy business partner is out on business, and it's me handling the show. So just hang on for a moment. Take a couple of deep breaths. I invite you to go ahead and get some water now. That way you have it, and hang tight. All right. So it's time to get started. So here's what I invite you to do. I invite you to turn off your phones, close your Facebook, go where it's quiet, get some water, take some notes. And the biggest thing that I invite you to do is I invite you to open your mind, because this is going to be the most important part to you really allowing yourself to understand and to grasp the potential wisdom and nuggets that I'm going to share with you that I've learned from hundreds of thousands of dollars of coaching, through my own personal crazy experiences, through near death and life experiences, through all of the above. I'm taking all this information and sharing about 30 years worth of information, wisdom, and experiences that I have had. And I'm just honored and blessed to really share this with you, because I know what it's done for me, and I know what it's done for 15,000 or so clients that we've actually worked with. So I'm grateful that you're taking the time to invest in yourself. You're not investing in me. You are investing in yourself through me, in which it is my job, duty, and directive to completely fill you with as much wisdom as you can hold to help you to be the best person that you can be right now. And that's really the goal. So I'll open you with this question. And the question is this: what if things can change? What if all of what we've been told growing up our life could be made up stories that have been passed down from our families? And what if we've been getting programmed by information that's not even serving your highest potential? I offer the question: what if everything that you understand and know right now, have you ever questioned it and wonder where it came from and wonder if it is serving your highest potential? If not, you're in the right place. So here's the first term for you. My first question is, have you ever heard of self-directed neuroplasticity? It's okay. It's kind of like crickets. Don't feel bad. Here's another one for you. Have you ever heard of the term iatrogenesis? Interesting term, isn't it? I have been in the wellness field for 30 years, and I have never heard this term until 2 years ago. And I'm going to get into the specifics of what it is here in a minute. But before we do that, I'm going to just invite you, like I said, just to keep in mind, what if everything that you've been told isn't serving your best potential? And if you haven't questioned everything that you've been told as to see what's fact and what's real and what's stories that we make up, then I invite you to look, see, and feel as a brand new person, like you just basically stepped on the earth today. It's an interesting thought. But right now, consider this. You just got on your little spaceship and you landed on Earth, and you are basically just like an alien learning all this information for the first time. So let me get the slides to pull up, because they seem to be acting a little funny. So hang on. Here we go. Bam. Awesome. So now, here's the fun part. This is where the journey kicks in. You missed nothing important up until this part. So really, here's where the fun part happens. And I'm going to get into a little bit more of who I am. And where are my slides not? Hang tight. Trying to get these slides to work here. Hang on a second. All right, here we go. Back in action. All right, so let me take you a little bit of history on me so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. You're wondering why I'm on the phone with this crazy dude or on this online training that I may have just met. So let me give you a little background. Currently, I'm 37 years young. I knew at a very young age, at the age of 7, that I loved lifting weights and learning about foods. And I really started working out with my dad in the garage at 7 years old. I literally had a gym membership to the World's Gym in the 5th grade, where I started my bodybuilding endeavors and went through the whole craziness of no pain, no gain, and eating like a horse and all kinds of stuff. And you know, here's some of the stories and things that have been up in my life. And if you look at the top right-hand corner, you look at that fat guy with the beard, and you're like, who's that dude? And there's no way that's the same guy on the right. Well, it is. That's me at one of my lowest points in life and one of my higher points in life. And I'm going to get into some specifics on where I've been, because I don't expect you to know me until you hear me. And you'll find that I'm not a person who pulls punches. I'm going to tell you exactly who I am, where I've been, and politically incorrect or whatnot. I love you and support you exactly where you are. And this is just who I am and where I've kind of been through. So that picture on the top right is when I came out of the worst situations I have been in sheesh, my life. You can tell by looking at that picture that it wasn't that great. So I had a whole stream of crazy events and things that happened in my life because of decisions that I made and because of things that were functioning on my elephant. You're like, what is an elephant? That's right. Well, we're going to get into that one, so just hang tight. So up on the top left-hand corner, those are two of my coaches. Jeff Primack. That's where I learned all my disease-specific nutrition reversals. So God's blessed me with the ability to support people with cancer, Parkinson's, AIDS, Alzheimer's, that kind of stuff, by getting into grocery store food and knowledge to help with the healing process. So you may have seen some of the videos that I post on blending and juicing. Well, this is a lot of my area of expertise that I have been blessed with knowing and investing a serious amount of time in learning. The next guy over to the right where it says Superstar Speaker Training, that's one of my latest coaches, Tim McGrath. He is a well-known international speaker. The next picture over in front of that group of people, that's me at the Veda Institute teaching class. They invite me to go in and teach every year for the students, and there's usually about 300 or 400 people in there, and I just get to share the stuff that I love and get paid to do it. It's not work. It's a matter of me creating massive value in people's lives and watching the ripple effect happen from them to their family, to their friends, and then out just continuously. That picture right there in the middle is my latest experience where I went to California to go to the traffic and conversion conference and was working with 3 of my clients while I was down there. So when I go to people's houses, I travel to different areas of the world and go to their houses for 2 or 3 days and structure all of their food out and their nutrition and do all of their mindset coaching, do all of their goal setting sessions, and completely immerse myself into their environments so I understand exactly what's going on and exactly how to support them. But that's actually Miss Jamie Tardy, the eventual millionaire, as one of my clients. If you get a chance to check out her stuff, do it. But that's us actually in the airport drinking green smoothies. And believe it or not, nowadays there's so many things that you can do eating healthy when you're on the road. It's amazing. At the time and age that we live right now is absolutely outstanding. You can find whatever you want, whenever you want, at the touch of a fingertip. We are standing on the shoulders of thousands of people and the knowledge that has been passed down to us. We are at a specific time and age right now where wisdom is so abundant. And make sure you're careful where you get your wisdom from, because it isn't always the best. I always say this: prove all things and hold fast to that which is true, repeating by my coach, Bob Tennyson Stevens. That picture over there on the right is me and Chris in LA at one of our masterminds, taking a break and going for a jog on the beach. And I can see why people desire to live there, because the weather's amazing. Where I draw the line is when the earth starts shaking, though. So that's a little much for me. If you notice the picture down there on the bottom, it looks like a jungle. Well, that's where I was at the beginning of this year. I was in a 8-day complete immersion of mind, body, and spirit makeover, and just going through lots of processes and stuff to really help me to fine tune and hone myself to be the better me for myself and to better support you. So I was literally in the middle of a jungle for 8 days with no phone, no TV, no nothing, an hour outside of Cancun in the middle of a jungle, meaning the places where we stayed, we had screen windows where you hear monkeys and parrots and all kinds of stuff going crazy. And it was amazing at how I was able to just connect with myself. And if you don't take trips on a regular basis, and I'm not even talking, you may go down to the park and just turn your phone off and just allow yourself to sync up with nature and truly listen to your thoughts, because a lot of what I'm going to share with you tonight is really the Jedi secrets about mindset training. Because if your mindset is crappy and you're having crappy thoughts, well, guess what? You're eventually going to have crappy experiences, because they're coming up into your brain and you're not checking them and creating an option of what you do choose to experience. And a lot of that is off of self-sabotage because of what the elephant is doing to the ant. Yep, we're going to get to that. And right at this moment, I invite you to take a drink, because that's what I'm doing. I'll probably go through 3 or 4 glasses of water while we're here talking tonight. Water is your #1 promoter in energy and oxygen enhancement. So when you're drinking water, you're creating oxygen rushing in through your cells, which is approximately responsible for 80% of your energy intake. All right, so here we go. Here's our current state, and you may find that's absolutely crazy. I do. So the 4 leading causes of death, according to the CDC in 2010. Yep, that's right, 2010. That's the most up-to-date information that's available, meaning I didn't screw up and had my head in my butt when I was making these slides and being a moron and say, oh, wow, maybe I should put 2010. No, this is what's available, and this is a public record. Okay, the CDC is the Center of Disease Control. So heart disease, #1 killer, almost 600,000 deaths. Cancer, 567,000, approaching rapidly. Chronic lower respiratory diseases, 137. Stroke, which is basically when all of your blood vessels get crowded and clotted up to where you can't get oxygen to your brain. Not a good thing. Okay. And then you have this 350,000 deaths per year linked to overweight and obesity. There is an estimated, it's funny how it's estimated, 220 to 448,000 deaths preventable from medical errors. I'm going to read that to you one more time. There is an estimated 220 to 448,000 deaths that are preventable from medical errors. Too high medications, wrong medications, unnecessary procedures, sloppy handwriting, you name it. Now, if you look down at that word in red, I mentioned it to you earlier, and I think it's good for me to actually tell you what it is now. The term iatrogenic death is the term that you must find and know first to even look for, where to find the terminology that Western medicine uses for preventable deaths and accidents. It's under iatrogenic deaths. Now, why it's not under medical errors that result in death, I have no idea. And why is it only 2010 that you have those facts? I don't know that either. But I know this. Every morning you get up and look in that mirror, guess what? That is the beautiful young lady or beautiful young man that is responsible for your health and your outcome. So today, if you don't do anything else, I invite you to accept full 100%, not 98.9, not 99.9, 100% responsibility for exactly where you are at in every area of your life, releasing yourself from all blame, anger, unforgiveness, grievance, bitterness, slander, anything that is less than I love myself and I give myself permission to thrive today, right now. Okay? Until you are willing and committed to make that decision, count on it that everything that's going in your life that is you are not happy with, in your physical body, in your spiritual life, in your relationships, in your business, is an exact replication of what is functioning internally in your subconscious mind, which is also known as your elephant. Water break. All right. Now, the good news. That's right. There's always good news around here, especially when you know where to find it at and what to do with it. So 90% of these deaths are preventable by better lifestyle choices. So, and you know, the beauty of kind of what Chris and I both do is we have, over the years of working with 15,000 people, and I've got an extensive background through different various 20 some odd different nationally recognized certifications. I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I give you that information so you understand I have consciously and consistently pushed myself to learn from the best because this is my passion. That I would do this for free. And I did for a long time until I figured out how to truly help people on a mass level. I love this so much. This is what I would do whether I got paid to do it or not. And what I invite you to do is ask yourself the same question, because if you're doing something that sucks, man, there is an option and there is a way to get out of it and to do what you love. And until you are, you will always have a half-assed life in your relationships, in your relationship with yourself, in your body, in your business, because you are settling for less than what your highest calling is. And I love you. There's no judgment around here. There's only love and support. And how can I help you with where you're at, and what support systems can I help to create with you to help you to be successful in your mind, body, and spirit? So back to what Chris and I focus on. When we educate on air, water, food, and consciousness. Specifically because air is the first thing you're going to die without, water is the second thing, food is the third, and your mindset is the fourth, potentially the first, depending upon how you function and where you're at in your life and your environment. So here we go. The genetic lie. Yes, the genetic lie. It's very interesting because we have been lied to about our genes. There's so much information going around that we are a slave to our genes, and that is so incorrect. That is so incorrect. Have you ever read the book, The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lupton? Well, I'm going to give you a synopsis of the whole book in a couple of slides. So just remember what I said. Be open-minded. Put your belief systems, if they are already rubbing against what you think, just put them on the side on a little shelf. I'm not asking you to get rid of them by any means. I'm just asking you to clear a non-judgmental way, an opportunity for me to put some information there and see if it resonates with you. So 75 to 85% of our genetic code is expressive, and it's also available to be recessive by our controlling our thoughts and our environment. That's a big deal. Meaning just because you may have had a bad upbringing, or you may have had a bad mom or a bad dad, or whatever that looks like in your life, that does not control where you're going unless you allow for it to do, and you make up stories around it that are supporting that not happening. So by you understanding what you're thinking, how you're feeling, your belief systems, your nutrition that you put into your car, your stress, and the environments that you surround yourself with, those are all very massive factors on what you're going to get in your experience. And there's a true saying: you take your top 5 friends that you hang around, that you call, that you are consistently around. You are the average of your top five friends in their intellects, in their finances, in their spiritual relationships, in their bodies with themselves, and your body included, and your business. Do the work and look at it. And I'm not by any means saying that you need to dump your friends, and they may be friends where you require making some adjustments to get some more quality friends that are pushing you out of your box to allow you to become the best you that you're supposed to be. There is a difference between time with people and quality time with people. There's many people that I said I love you, and I require investing some time over here with some different people to learn some different skill sets and create some different relationships. And that's okay. Remember what I said. When you look in that mirror every morning, every day you walk by, you are the only person that's responsible for the outcome in your life. And if it's shitty, that's because you're putting shitty stuff in it. And until you're willing to recognize it non-objectively, just look at it like a fly on the wall and say, oh, wow, I notice I have this going on in my relationship. Oh, goodness, I have this going on in my business. I wonder what this turns into. That's worth $100,000 right there alone. Write this down if you choose to make a difference in your life. What does this turn into? Most of the time, we are so conditioned on having a bad story that goes and goes and goes and goes, and instead asking ourselves in the moment, oh, wow, I noticed that I have anger towards my partner this morning. I noticed that we got into an argument and a discussion, and I noticed that I feel angry, and I feel anger about this, and I feel resentment. I wonder what this turns into. Oh, wow. This turns into my forgiveness and me forgiving myself for being so pissed off. And I have control over my emotions. And when I'm giving them out and I'm angry at someone and I'm blaming someone else, I'm completely being the victim. That's great information. That means that nothing in your life is outside of you. And matter of fact, if you find people that irritate you and piss you off and you're like, I don't like that person. Well, guess what? If you caught it, you got it. I mean, if you recognize something in someone else that you are unhappy with, that triggers you, you have it. I have it. As I'm pointing my finger, I'm getting 3 right back. So when that happens, you're like, oh, wow, I notice this person triggers me. I get a little antsy. I get excited. I get irritated. First off, give yourself permission to feel your feelings. When you give yourself permission to feel your feelings, you're allowing yourself to use the barometer that our Creator has installed in us, so we can navigate through life by understanding there are 2 energies and 2 feelings, ones that feel good and ones that feel bad. If it feels bad, do something different. It's pretty easy once you get into the mindset of understanding and recognizing it. So here's the second one. Self-directed neuroplasticity. It sounds so fancy, and it's really nothing more than us understanding our thoughts and choosing our thoughts, and more importantly, choosing our words. By our words, you're justified, and by our words, we are condemned. And if you think about a massive ship on the ocean that has massive airliners and planes and 15, who knows, 6,000 people on there, that ship is controlled by such a small rudder. Same way with our body. Our mouth is the number one thing that can either promote us or demote us in a moment. There are tons of word upgrades and things that we'll get into, and that's a lot of what Chris and I really work on. Is specifically, just try this out loud. Here you go, everybody. You're going to say this 3 times, and here's what your criteria is. Pay attention to how you feel. Sit up straight in your chair right now. When you say this, pay attention to your body language. Does your body move? Do you have itches on your face? Do you scratch? Anything, okay? Here's the phrase. We're saying it 3 times. You ready? I want. Say it again. I want. Say it again. I want. All right. Now here's the other one. Here is a potential language upgrade. Ready? I choose. I choose. I choose. Okay. I can't see you, and I can feel you, and I'm just going to tell you how my experience was, and you can just gladly post in the Facebook chat, hey, Brian, here's what I noticed, and I would love to hear from you. Here's the first thing that I noticed, and you may notice it too. I'm already excited. You can tell by the volume in my voice, but you can listen to this. Tell me what you find out. I want. I choose. Did you feel and hear the volume difference in my voice? I did not do that consciously. I wasn't consciously doing it louder because I was choosing to make a difference. That is my subconscious using my body as a vehicle to identify the language choice difference, emphasizing the empowerment of the language, and my body language confirmed the process because I sat forward in my seat. Okay. We will share some amazing stuff with you on body language. And out of all the 70,000 hours I have invested in all of the certifications and college and information and teachers and wisdom that I have collected, you have my 100% word that I have never in my lifetime ever experienced anything more powerful than body language and language. And you can ask some of my clients that have worked with me that I do sessions with, and we use body language and bring it in, and man, wow. My trainers, my coaches, this is specifically for you. Body language is where it's at. If you want to niche yourself out of the personal training field, this is a skill you must learn, because it's going to dramatically, exponentially affect your ability to connect with yourself and your people, hands down. All right, the placebo versus non-SIBO. The power of belief. The biology of belief, or I'm sorry, yeah, the power of belief. The biology of belief by Bruce Lipton, and we're going to talk about that for a minute. We're going to talk about how it applies to pharma. Pharma meaning the medical industry. The medical industry gives us a lot of fear factors. How many times do you just constantly are bombarded by garbage on TV? That's one thing. Here's what I invite you to do. If you love yourself, I encourage you to stop watching TV. Stop watching anything that creates a fear-based mindset. Stop watching anything that keeps you out of, I am enthusiastic about my life. I never watch TV. I watch Ancient Aliens because I love it. I have it recorded. I'll watch educational stuff from my body language coaches and from my coaches. I highly empower you to maybe take a week or a month off, and instead of watching TV, put something else that is uplifting to your spirit and to your mind, that enhances your trade and enhances your craft and enhances your ability to massively create value in the people that you serve and the people in your life, and watch what happens in your life. TV, in my opinion, and the news is a bunch of shit. And I don't make apologies for language. It just comes out because that's how I feel about it. And I love you. So, death by diagnoses. This is another one. I invite you to never identify with what my doctor says I have. Your doctor has less than 3 hours of nutritional education. Less than 6% of graduating physicians have less than 3 hours of nutritional education. That's no more than knowing that a meat is a protein, a vegetable has some carbohydrates, maybe, and sweet potatoes are complex carbohydrates. That is nothing. Their whole background and education is based on a symptom, not even a symptom reversal, but identifying a symptom and treating a symptom, which turns into another symptom, which turns into another medication, and then another surgery for something that you don't need, that you were born with. In my opinion, there's a much different way of doing things, and it doesn't mean going without. It means integration. I am by no means expressing hatred or disdain towards the medical community, because I firmly believe they have created some amazing technologies. In my personal life, I have a friend of mine who's had, his daughter has had 2, not 1, 2 double lung transplants. Now, I don't know about you, but if I ever got into a car wreck and something bad were to happen to me, cancel clear, you'll hear me adjust my language in the middle of the conversation many times. I would encourage you and plead with you to take me to a Western medicine doctor. Other than that, I don't go to the doctor. I'm 37 years young and haven't been to the doctor since I was 13, solely because of my lifestyle and my understanding of how to implement things in my lifestyle to keep my body healthy, no matter who is sick, no matter who in my house is sick, no matter how many sick people I've been around, I won't get it. Don't identify with a diagnosis. That's just a symptom. And if we dig further into body language, like we do in some of my trainings, I talk specifically about symptoms. There are pains that show up in your body that's just your subconscious using your body as an instrument to communicate what's the emotional blockage is. There's so much available to you that it is difficult for me to keep myself on track right now because of what I understand and what I know is available to you. Okay? Amazing stories and the power of possibility. Like literally with your mindset alone, if you say, you know what, I am healed and I am well, guess what? You're well on your way. But if you're like, man, I hurt, my back hurts, I'm tired, I'm hurting all the time, and man, I think I'm coming down with something, well, guess what? You're right. Henry Ford said it best. Whatever you think you are, you're right. Whether you think you're right or whether you think you're wrong, you're right. As a man thinketh, so is he, by Earl Nightingale. Great book. Okay? So here's Bruce Lipton. Here is some interesting information that completely is on the flip side of what we have been instructed and handed down as valuable and pertinent, truthful information. Here we go. The science of signal transduction focuses upon the biochemical pathways by which cells respond to environmental cues. Environmental signals engage cytoplasmic processes that can alter gene expression and thereby control cell fate, influence cell movement, control cell survival, or even sentence a cell to death, which is known as apoptosis. Signal transduction science recognizes that the fate and behavior of an organism is directly linked to its perception of the environment. In simple terms, the character of our life is based upon how we perceive it. And I invite you to answer this rhetorically to yourself, unless you feel like speaking it out loud. How many stories and belief systems do you think you're currently operating up that we have made up when we were 2 or 3 years old? Like maybe we weren't loved by mom and dad, and maybe I have anger. Maybe my dad was an asshole and I never have forgiven him, and it's completely affected my relationships with all the men in my life right now because I'm carrying this energy over into this relationship, and I have completely hated my father so much that I have gotten so masculine in my energy because I'm so angry, and now I can't relax in my feminine, creative, intuitive side of my body, and I'm completely out of balance. You can take the same thing and flip towards men. How many of those personas are we making up right now that are not in line with what God or our creator or the universe, and whatever works for you, do the translation? How many of those stories are keeping us from being the creator that we truly are, mind, body, and spirit? I invite you to think about this. We are spirits living in a physical body, not living in a physical body trying to have a spiritual experience. We are spiritual people in a physical body, attempting to reconnect with our spirit and truly remember who we am. Struggle and lack is not who we are. That's an option. So self-directed neuroplasticity is simply what we think about, we become, which means you can change it. Okay? 99.994% of the whole enchilada, the whole 100% of our brain is our subconscious. That's our feeling world. Okay? 0.006% of that equation is only our thinker or our conscious mind. That is so small. Our conscious mind can completely defeat us through fear, through nobody's going to love me, what are they going to think, and damn it, you piss me off. All of those phrases are us giving our power away and not truly embodying who we are as creators. And it's possible to do all of that. And so here's the ant and the elephant. This is a great story. I hope you enjoy it. And here's it goes. And I'm borrowing some of this from Gary Keller. So, and I like to give credit where credit is due. Have a sip. So the elephant and the ant. So the elephant is representative of our subconscious. Our subconscious is massive. Our ant is our conscious mind, and it's tiny. It can only filter about 7 conscious thoughts at a time. So here's the deal. Say, for example, we are in the African jungle, and our ant and our elephant are friends. And our ant is on top of the elephant, and they get along amazing. And the ant has this little sugarcane stick, and the elephant and the ant are talking nicely, and the ant's like, hey, I say we go straight. for an hour and let's go out there and check out this new water hole. And the elephant's, yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to do that. Let's do it. So they're both in unison. They're congruent with their decision. So the elephant and the ant take off along the way, walking through the forest, having a good time, cutting up, telling jokes, and just enjoying the experience, the right now, which is the only time that we have. Well, the elephant along the way gets kind of bored, and he's like, hey, man, I'm kind of bored. Can we take a left or a right or something? He's like, no, we're going straight. And the elephant's like, dude, I'm telling you, I don't want to go straight. I want to go left or right. I'm not feeling good about this. Elephant's like, you know the deal, bro. This is where we're going. The elephant's like, all right, too bad. I'm going left. And you can sit your ass up there or you can get off. Doesn't matter to me. Well, you can guess it. As the elephant cruises off to the left, the ant really has no say-so. Not a one. Because what's going on is he is completely overpowered. Okay? Now, let's get into a real life situation. And I'm going to use myself because that's the only person I can relate to. So I was suicidal in my 20s. I hit a crazy stint in life and had a relationship go south. And I had never in my lifetime ever experienced any emotions that heavy. And when we did and went south, I went south. I couldn't eat. I lost 20 pounds in 2.5 weeks, started doing a bunch of drugs, just completely was not sleeping, was not there at all. Well, what happened is eventually I thought I had gotten over that because we're still friends to this day. And I invite you, with your former partners, forgive them. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself and love them regardless, because you got into a relationship with them for a specific reason, because you had a feelings towards them. You should still love them and continue on with your life and vote their victory instead of judging them and casting bad thoughts and things on them. So yeah, carrying on. So what happened is for 5 or 6 years after that relationship, I find myself in another relationship, enjoying myself, having a great time, doing great at my job where I was, running training departments and whatever else. And what I would notice was I would start having thoughts of self-sabotage, like more than normal. Okay, and I'm talking when my relationship was going great. I'm like, where is this coming from? Why am I having these thoughts? Where is this coming from? Could never figure it out. Well, things led to other things, and I started making stupid choices in my business and just my personal life, and all went to the crapper in a hurry. And I made some dramatically different choices that I would not have made that cost me significance in my investments of wisdom. So, and here's what I choose to share with you. I invite you to think about this. If I ask you the question right now, do you love yourself? What's your answer? Is it yeah, of course, sure, absolutely? Well, if it's anything other than yes, you don't. Anything other than yay or nay is non-communication, meaning it's not consciously and subconsciously connected and in alignment. That would have been great to know for me. Because one day I was in class 4 or 5 years ago, scratching my left bicep really hard with my body language coach. And I said, hey, Bob, what does this mean? 4 words out of my mouth. He goes, how long have you had a death wish? Yeah, that's what I said. I said, wow, really? Yep, since I was 20. He asked me at that point, have you chosen life? I said, yes, of course, over on that chair. Dude, that's all code for no, I haven't, and I don't love myself. And it's not wrong. It's just feedback to determine where we're not connected at. And if you didn't answer yes to that conversation and that question that I just asked you, it's okay. It's just where you're at. And then most importantly, what does this turn into? So back to the elephant. For 12 years, I'm functioning off of love equals pain, and I don't deserve it. And I have shame, all of that. All of those feelings of unworthiness showed up in my life when I started getting happy and doing good and great at work and relationships. What would happen? I would hit the upper limits. As my friend Christopher John Stubbs would say, my coach, the upper limits is the only problem that we have in life. Meaning, how good can you stand it before we start to sabotage ourselves because we're not worthy and we're not used to having this kind of relationship and this kind of connection with people, or this kind of money in our business, or this kind of feelings in our life. And oh, wow, if you don't love yourself, you're going to sabotage yourself. And what's happening is the elephant has all of these records of all the stories. Well, when dad was 3, this is what happened to me, and I still don't forgive him, and I never can. And mom did this to me, and my sister did this, and this happened to me. And we put all this stuff in our elephant. So an elephant has all the power in the world to just completely crush your ant or your thought process. So when things start happening and you start thriving life, bam, you get let off into a wild goose chase with an elephant that's not stopping and an ant that has no control. And until you change those records that your elephant is functioning off of by recognizing them and doing work with people, with coaches specifically that understand how to do this, your life is going to exactly represent where you're functioning emotionally in your feeling world, or your ant or your elephant. I'm sorry. Now, you can use the ant to start creating affirmations and word choice and start changing the things that the elephant is functioning off of. But until you truly resurrect the experiences that happened in your past with love, meaning meet them right where they're at with love, no matter how black or painful it is, meet that experience with love, and it will, bam, change on the spot. Your body language will cue the whole process, and you will walk upscale, and everyone in your life, including you, will change right there on the spot. Because there is no me and you. We are one subconsciously, meaning when I resurrect my patterns, people in my life change because we're all connected. Okay? The objective is with self-directed neuroplasticity is creating new neural pathways, new ways of thinking, new ways of getting out of our crap when we have stories and, such and such did this to me and I'm not good enough. How to recognize that story that's popping up that's inhibiting us from thriving, and recognizing it and saying, you know what? I choose this instead. Having those tools and systems in your life has been, I don't know if there's a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is about the best I can come up with, exponentially, because of what I've seen and what I've experienced firsthand of being able to change those patterns and to walk anew, completely free of past baggage, of I'm not good enough, I've got shame, nobody loves me, mom and dad hate me. All of that is completely resurrectable if you choose to walk through the door. And I invite you to think about this. You don't have to kick the door in. It opens towards you. And as the student is ready, the teacher appears. When your subconscious is ready, you will start having experiences of people come into your life that are there to support you and to help you learn your lesson and to change your ways. If you don't recognize it, you will complete the lesson again, get your shirt, and be in the same spot you are 2 to 5 to 10 years from now if you don't gather the information and make the adjustments in your life. And the crazy thing about it is that body language will cue the whole process. So it's kind of crazy now at this specific time in our juncture, because science and spirituality are pretty much connected now. It's not one or the other, it's both. The more we understand science, the greater we understand our spiritual nature. Our verbal language and our body language, our stress, our fear, our anxiety all show up in physical symptoms via pains and ailments and symptoms in our physical body. Imagine if you understand this. Imagine if you understood body language and you understood the mindset and how to completely recognize when your body starts to feel a certain way. You're like, oh, wow, I'm having an issue on my right side, and I'm having an issue understanding how to move forward with male figures in my life. All right. I give myself permission to relax. I choose to make this fun and easy. I give myself permission to be flexible and moving forward with male figures in my life, specifically my husband, my boyfriend, my dad. Imagine if you understood that. Right in the middle, when you're about to sabotage yourself, and you say, you know what? Today is the day that I choose differently. and this is my choice. Ba, 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 ba. By your words, you're justified, and by your words, you are condemned. So here's what I invite you to join us on. We just finished our last 6-week series all about nutrition, all about digestion, how to boost your immune system, all of that stuff. We also are starting a new series, and this is what we're discussing today, which is our new 4-week series on mindset. We specifically are going to work on breaking limiting belief systems, how to recognize them. We're going to talk about goals and priorities, about making time so that you can work right versus working hard. We're going to talk about the power of affirmations. And I'll tell you this much. I have a great friend of mine and a client named Chad Goldwasser. I never believed in affirmations till 2 years ago. I was like, man, that's lame. I don't want to do that. And then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't care what it is. I'll face my fear and deal with it. If it's something that expands my ability to contribute to society, I'm in. Sure enough, I started using affirmations, and here's how it changed my life. If you don't even recognize that you're having limiting belief systems that pop up when somebody says, hey, let's go to the mall, or let's go shopping, let's go on vacation, you're automatically, I can't do that. So you make your decision off of that record or that elephant. The power of affirmations means when you come in and you're like, you are basically recognizing when you have an affirmation that says, let's say, for example, like this, I choose to make this fun and easy, or I only attract people in my life that align with my creator's purpose and my purpose in life, serving humanity, whatever. That's just one off the cuff. But when you have affirmations specifically that cater to where you are not matching up to what is possible, wow, what a difference. Because what happens is when you have that thought that happens so fast, that affirmation comes right behind it. And it blows it out before you even have time to think about it. You're like, oh, wow, I'd love to go on vacation. What does that look like? How can I create that? Do I have hours at work? What can I create in my business? How many more clients does that equate for me to go on vacation? You completely change your limiting belief systems because you have no limits. The only limits you have is not the sky, it's your brain. That's it. So we'll also talk about changing your language, which is exactly what happens when you change your language. Your life will change. Specifically, like we did earlier, I want versus I choose. If you go scriptural, not religion, scripturally speaking, the Bible says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. When I say I want, I am agreeing with not having, and it's not wrong. It's just feedback. I invite you to completely get out of the right or wrong mindset and say, oh, wow, this is just feedback. It's not negative. It's not positive. It's just what is. What can I do to change the result? And when you become aware of self-sabotage and you become aware of your languaging, it's an exponential difference immediately of what you start to experience because you are systematically, word by word, raising your vibration of where you're functioning at, which means the people, places, things, circumstance, and events that show up in your life match the vibrations of where you are functioning at in your emotional / subconscious / elephant body. So here's some stuff to recognize. 12 symptoms or signs of a spiritual awakening. An increased tendency to let things happen rather than making them happen. Recognizing resistance and being able to step back and say, oh, wow, I noticed that I'm trying to do this and there's a lot of resistance. Many things aren't lining up for me and it's kind of difficult. Maybe I should step back and pay attention to some other things that are going on and check in and see where I'm at and see if there's a better way to do this. Frequent attacks of smiling is always good. If you don't wake up in the morning and you're not enthusiastic about your day, you have upgrades available. I wake up every morning and I am so grateful that I get to share this information with you because I know what it's going to do. And I'm like, man, am I really just get to study and learn this stuff and this is work for me? If you don't feel that way, I invite you to not go to sleep tonight until you figure out what it is that's going to allow you to create that feeling in your life. And of course, we can help you with the rest of it and structure it out and even find it for yourself. But you owe it to yourself not to live another shitty day, unhappy with your job, unhappy with your relationship, unhappy with your business relationships. That is all you and things that you're settling for, which means that you can completely change it. When you love yourself, those things will change. So you also have feelings of being connected with others in nature. Frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. I speak for me personally. I'll cry driving down the road. I start thinking about things that I've been through and where I'm at and how grateful I am for my family supporting me, for the people in my life, my coaches, for you, for the computer that I get to share this information on, all of it. If you ever get into a state of fear and my life sucks, immediately start into a state of gratitude out loud verbally for 17 seconds, as Mr. Mark Malacone and Abraham Hicks would say. 17 seconds is what changes the momentum of that thought to where you can change the energy of your thoughts and the direction of your day in 17 seconds and by taking deep breaths into your stomach if you choose to. You may have a tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than from fears based on past experiences. An unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment, which is really the only moment that we have, is right now. We may get blown up right now, cancel clear. I'll be here till I'm 120 years old. I invite you to do the same thing. You may also have a loss of ability to worry, which is horrible. A loss of interest in conflict, a loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others, a loss of interest in judging others, a loss of interest in judging yourself, and gaining the ability to love without expecting anything, and voting other people's victory. The opposite of judgment, which we as humans have an egoic mind, and if something doesn't fit our box, we can immediately go into a state of judgment against someone else or us personally, which is the same thing. So when you notice that, immediately say, I vote that person's victory and I vote my victory, which means you're empowering them and you're getting off of basing how you feel off of how that individual is interacting and showing up in life, which is basically just you, which you're picking up the information holographically that they're putting out that you need to deal with in your own life. Pretty interesting, huh? So I'm going to present to you this on the mindset switch here from my friend and my client from a long time from high school. She had been on medications for 30 years that had been programmed by doctors and people that she would never come off. And I invite you to think about the mindset differences of what's been passed down. And I ask you, is it serving your best interest? And here's a little experience and an example of a testimony of one of our clients that has had that still blows me away.
Hi, my name is Violet. I choose to take a few minutes and talk to you about my experience with reaching out to Brian. About 6 months ago, I contacted Brian. I just had some questions about nutrition, different things I could change up just to start feeling better. And we also talked about different medications I was on at the time. He mentioned foods that specifically could do the same thing as what the medications were doing, except naturally. And so along with that, and the other list of things that he said, to try, I started doing that immediately. And after about a month, I started to wean myself off of one of my medications. And then after I got off that one, I started weaning myself off another medication. And after 3 months, I had gotten off of 5 medications. Some of these medications I was on for 30 years, some I was on for 15 years, and some I was on for 10 years. And so these are things that I thought I was going to have to take for the rest of my life. Before that conversation with Ryan, I didn't even realize that there was another option. And it's been 6 months since I talked to him about these specific things, and 3 months of being completely off medicine. And I really am so happy and thankful and grateful for Brian and for the work that he does, and just the love that he has for people, and showing them that they have other options, that they can feel good just with the right information. And I just feel really blessed to have that opportunity to talk to him about those things going on in my health and my diet, and that he's so knowledgeable and it's really helpful, and offers you you this opportunity to change your life. And that's at least the way I look at it. Because I look at this more as, oh, I'm off medication. To me, it's a miraculous act. To be able to say, I'm free from all of this. And it's also given me, such a sense of empowerment too, to know that, doctors couldn't do this, who's from the grocery store did this. So it's kind of wild, but definitely grateful for it. Thank you.
So here's the plan for today. Hope you enjoyed that information. So here's what we're offering. And I need to make an adjustment. I've actually got a better deal for you than that one. So typically what we would charge for this class is $497. For today, specifically for you on the training, we're offering it not only for $197, we're offering it for $144. I didn't go back and change that. So a little surprise in a good way. Here's what you'll get. You'll get 4 live webinars, about 1 hour each, all about changing your mindset, which is all the stuff that we talked about previously. You'll have access to the recordings if you've missed the live sessions. Bonuses. You'll have all of our recipe books, 2 months access to our closed membership site, 30-minute consultation with myself or my man, Francis Christopher Vanberg. And I'm even throwing in 2 Jedi Secrets videos, which are trainings that I did specifically on food healing and symptom reversal and nutrition goal setting stuff. So here's the benefits. Benefits is the most important part, because until you understand how to master the basics for your body, life can be challenging. Together, we've worked with over 13,000 people. Last year alone, we invested over 100 grand in coaches. We're going to help you learn the secrets to work right versus working hard. I am a huge advocate in working right versus working hard. I've done lots of hard work, and I much prefer to do the easy part. It works extensively much better when you understand the right tools and equations to plug in. Learn how to craft perfect custom stuff for you as far as mindset. Understand how to reversing symptoms and dis-ease by understanding your own mindset and recognizing patterns of self-sabotage. You'll have all that access with all the same people in the mindset group that we have that all have the intention of getting healthy. So today you have the opportunity to have more joy, peace in your life, creating greater health for both you and your family, wearing the clothes you choose to versus what you have to, with a renewed confidence in your mind and in your abilities. And that is a wrap. So hopefully there was some information that was valuable to you. I know that through all the stuff that I've been through in my life, with all the crazy experiences, that I am 100% blessed, not lucky, blessed to be here sharing it with you. And I understand what it's done for me. And I'm just amazingly blessed and privileged to be able to share it with you. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you and seeing you on the other side as we start to launch the training. So if you have any questions whatsoever, ping me on Facebook, private message me, whatever. You have my commitment to support you at my highest capacity. And I love you, and I thank you for you investing in you. And remember, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. Have an awesome night, and I'll see you on the other side.